I am, and I'm excited to bring this information to you today. Eye health is a very important thing to pay attention to, that's for sure. And so I hope that you get a really good concept of this. Savvy, thank you for that foundational stuff about glutathione. There's a little bit of overlap in my presentation, but it's always good to review a little bit. So I'm going to do a little screen share here as well. Get rid of this. And as you know, we're talking about glutathione, and we're wanting to make sure that everybody gets a good understanding about it. Going into eye health. But I want to do, for those of you who don't know me, maybe this is your first time here, and that's why a little bit later in my presentation, I'll be going over how the patches work and what the heck they are. But I want to do just a little bit of introduction for those of you who don't know me. I'm Dr. Jon Harmon. I've been a chiropractor for 32 years. I'm board certified in QEEG and neurofeedback. QEEG stands for quantitative electroencephalogram. That's a measurement of electrical activity in the brain. Understanding what it means and understanding how to change it. So that's what we do at my place. Father of 8 kids, grandfather of 24. It gets a little crazy sometimes, but love them so much. Excuse me. Founder and owner of Clear Mind Center of Idaho, located in Meridian, Idaho. It's where we help people get their brains right. Here's my contact information. If you have any questions, I try to answer everybody's emails. It might not happen right away, but I'll get to you. It's drjharmon@gmail.com. I really think in order to understand what drives someone, it's very helpful to know where they've been and how I even got to be, as a chiropractor, to go into all of this brain stuff. In 2010, I had been in practice for 20 years, and we had some pretty severe family trauma. March 11th, 2010, my 18-year-old niece committed suicide. March 10th, 2011, it was almost exactly a year later, my oldest daughter's husband was murdered, and then my sister died, and then my younger daughters were a mess. Anxiety and depression, insomnia. And I went on a quest to find how I could help their brains initially, but that turned into the founding of a place where we help people with similar problems. My thoughts were, no family should have to go through what my family went through. And now we change lives in that way. It's a little bit different than chiropractic, but it sure is rewarding to see so many kids nowadays come in and they have such terrible anxiety. It's really tragic what's happening in the world right now, but it's really rewarding to have some answers for them and tell them that it's not a life sentence. The Discovery Channel did 2 episodes on American Monster, if anybody's interested to find out what happened to my daughter and her husband. The first one is 3 pops and a pause. The second one is What the Heart Wants, if anyone is interested in that. All right. We are talking about glutathione, but specifically about the fact that it becomes an eye protective shield for our vision. Let's talk about the chemistry a little bit. Savvy had a little diagram. I want to show you this. Here's the structure of it. Like he said, it's 3 amino acids, but I want to point out this kind of orangish S. That is sulfur. This is what gives it its characteristic sewer-ish smell. It's the sulfur in it. Or that's what it looks like. So I want to go over where can we get glutathione, whole glutathione in our diet, and where can we get things that are needed, the sulfur-based foods, to actually support glutathione production, which becomes very important if you're increasing your glutathione production by wearing this patch that I'll be talking about. You want to know where those sources are, where you can get the raw materials to do so. So foods that have glutathione in them. First of all, spinach is really good. Throw a little of that in your eggs, your scrambled eggs, put it on your sandwich, throw it in your smoothie. Avocados, eat one a day. Asparagus baked with Parmesan is what we like. Yum. That's good stuff. Okra, you either love it or you hate it, but it's got a lot of glutathione in it. Get your okra, you get your glutathione. Consuming sulfur-rich foods can help your body make more glutathione. And here are some of those. Sulfur-rich foods. The allium veggies, garlic, leeks, onions. And men, I think as part of our duty, this is some relationship advice. I think it's our duty to make our partner laugh at some point during the day. That's one of my goals. I'm going to make Carla laugh somehow. So yesterday we were at the, it's called the Co-op. It's all organic foods and all that stuff. And this is how you make your wife laugh. Either that or she's going to roll her eyes. So when you're buying leeks, you pick one up and you hand it to her and say, honey, do you want to take a leak? Bada boom. So there you go. I gave you a way to make your wife laugh. Laughter. Okay, cruciferous vegetables. And I put organic. This applies to everything. Get organic vegetables. They don't have as much glyphosate on them. You're going to get it everywhere, and everything you eat, maybe 5%. You get at least about a 95% decrease getting organic. Turkey, beef, eggs, all organic, grass-fed. Here's why it's important to get grass-fed. If it's not grass-fed, what is it fed? It's fed corn, grain, and those are GMO. And so you're getting glyphosate, and you get the biotoxin that is produced, that GMO foods produce as their own pesticide. You get that in that food. And then you got to use more glutathione to detox yourself. Sow your wild oats, get some wild oats to eat them. These are all rich in sulfur to support the production of glutathione. As Savvy said, it's the master antioxidant. It neutralizes numerous free radicals. It's critical to the recycling and proper utilization of other antioxidants like vitamin C and E. So I want you to imagine glutathione is the ship. It has glutathione. It's the ship of electrons, and it goes out and it can recharge vitamin C or vitamin E because that's their job too. They are antioxidants. I'm going to explain this pathway in a minute. So the process of an antioxidant is they are electron donors. Glutathione actually has the ability to recharge your vitamin C and vitamin E. Otherwise, it's a one and done. I'm out of here. If I don't have enough glutathione, I can only do it once. So glutathione recharges those so you can use them over and over and over again. The liver is primarily where it's, where the reservoir of glutathione, but every cell makes glutathione. Glutathione is essential for detoxifying harmful compounds. How important is glutathione? And I want you to hear this. Remember this if you remember nothing else from this presentation. The level of glutathione in your cells is directly related to your lifespan. Soak that in. David Schmidt says this in his presentations. The level of it in, I'm going to say it again. The level of it in your cells is directly related to your lifespan. That's how important it is. Dr. Charles Scott, there is an epidemic deficiency of glutathione in patients today. In fact, glutathione deficiency is found in almost all chronically ill patients. Numerous functions in the body benefit from adequate cellular glutathione, including the immune system. Now, our immune system doesn't collapse, which leads to chronic disease until it cannot handle what it's being presented with. How does that happen? Well, when I can't keep up with the oxidative stress that's going on, bacterial, viral, fungal, parasitic, environmental toxins. There are 88,000 chemicals that have been invented that are out in our environment that are floating around. They have found many of them in umbilical cord blood. Many of them were banned 40 years ago. They're out there. And so you have to have this protective shield to help you keep your oxidative stress down so that your immune function can do its job. It's when it gets overwhelmed, things go south, systemically. And now you have a chronic disease. Well, what do you have? Go to the doctor. Well, I don't know. You got a chronic, some kind of itis. It's an arthritis. It's a gastritis. It's this. It's a this. What caused it? Well, we don't know, but here's an anti-inflammatory to get rid of the inflammation. My family and I and my loved ones choose to take care of things in advance. And truly, this is what these patches do. We don't cure, prevent, diagnose, treat any disease. We just help the body take care of business the best it can, because we're all exposed to those things, and then they start to affect our health, our immune system, our brain. That's the second one up here, cognitive health. One of the goals I have in my life is to remember who I am when I'm old and not be meeting a new person every 15 minutes in my house who happens to be my spouse. Pulmonary health, cardiovascular health. Now we're going to focus in on ocular health right here. So this is a little diagram that will help you understand this process of redox, this oxidation and reduction. Don't get confused by that. I want to keep it really simple. Look over on the left. We have ultraviolet rays. We have atmospheric pollution. We have stress. We have poor diet. I'm going to say one word about poor diet. See this hamburger, the Coke, and the fries? If you're eating out of a box or a bag, processed food, and keep this in mind as I'm talking about glutathione and oxidation, you are eating electron stealers. They are processed foods, and when you eat them, they steal electrons, and you need even more glutathione to put them back. If you're eating fresh foods, they are electron donors. So keep that in mind when you eat. So what they do, and you see oxygen right here. At oxygen, we need in our lungs and out, we have to take it out into our cells, but oxygen is harmful to certain tissues and organs, and, iron. That's what causes, oxidation or rust. As Savvy said in his presentation, everything is slowly rusting chemically because of the electron steal that can happen. So we have this right here, and then we see up here, we have things that happen in our, we have free radical formation, and what happens is you get a damaged cellular membrane. Think of this everywhere. What are our membranes made of? They're made of molecules. And what are our molecules made of? They're made of atoms. What are atoms made of? Well, electrons, protons, and neutrons. Somewhere, somebody's losing some electrons in that wall, and so we have to replace those. All right, see if I can get this to it. There we go. And here it is in a different way. I like to give things in a diagram form. So free radical, this is one atom. You got the nucleus right here. You have these electrons in these, that we call them shells in the atom, but you have an unpaired electron. This is unstable. This has been oxidized. Something stole an electron. It was probably that Big Mac that you ate and it stole an electron from this atom, well, then you have to have this, the antioxidant donates, it has the capacity and ability without being unstable. It has the ability to donate an electron to basically heal or fix whatever it is where that was located. And see if I'll get, seems mine's kind of freezing up again, or as well. Here it is. Don't get too confused. You got oxidation, you got reduction. Oh, I got to go back. All right, oxidation. This is what I want to focus on, the bottom one. Loss of electrons. Reduction is gain of electrons. An oxidant is something that oxidizes another chemical by taking electrons. Just focus on this. It's too confusing to do more than that. Okay, so here's a little diagram. On the left, you have a healthy cell. You have normal glutathione level. You're able to take care of business. You're able to neutralize and repair where there's oxidative stress. Glutathione depletion leads to free radical damage because you can't put those electrons back as fast. Now you have oxidative stress, and now you have death. You have compromised cellular function. And the damage can't be repaired, and then it leads to cell death and organ death. And this is what is linked to serious health problems. And I don't know what's going on today, but there we go. So here's another diagram. Cellular and tissue health goes up. You got adequate glutathione. As that goes down, you get depletion of glutathione levels and organ failure. Ways to increase levels of glutathione. From the diet, remember we talked about foods that have glutathione in them. Eating sulfur-rich foods, and you have to be able to convert or make glutathione. And I want you to, these first three are all dependent upon what? A healthy gut. What is one of the #1 problems that people have? Gut issues, leaky gut, poor digestion, poor absorption. It makes expensive urine or fecal material if you can't absorb it. And if you're getting it from your diet, you got foods that have that glutathione in them, or foods that can help you make glutathione, or supplement. A very low amount of the supplement is absorbed, and I'll talk about that in a sec. Or what we think is a far greater option for increase in our glutathione level is the glutathione patch. And now we're going to talk about that a little bit. This is actually a snippet, a screenshot that I took from a very well-known company that I used to use in my practice because they have nanoparticleized sublingual sprays, and their glutathione called ACG glutathione. And here they are on their website. You see right here bragging about how their ACG glutathione increases glutathione by 10% in 7 hours. So let's compare that. Over on the left, there's the glutathione supplement. Over on the right, there's the LifeWave glutathione patch. Folks, it increases your glutathione level on average 300% within 24 hours. And yes, David Schmidt has said wear the glutathione patch 4 to 5 days a week is ample. You don't need to wear it every day. If you have, a surgery, or if you got some really chronic disease, I've worn it 7 days. That's what I've done before. So here is where we're going to get into the details about eye health. This guy says, I need glutathione. The eye needs glutathione. So let's take a look at the needs in the eye and the structure of the eye itself so you can understand that. This, I didn't want to show everything else, so I magnified this, but I want to point out some things here. Oops, I accidentally advanced it. All right, so we have the cornea out front. We have the lens right here. We have, the cornea here. And then we have the other structures and the lens. And then way back here, we have the retina. And this is the fovea centralis. That's where you focus on things. All of these structures out here are designed to protect your retina because UV light is very harmful to the retina. So you're going to understand this in just a second, how that happens and how glutathione basically turns these things out here into self-healing protective shields, like in a video game. You know, you got your armor on, you got your superhero, and the guy's photon, the laser comes in and puts a chink in your armor, and all of a sudden your armor is healing. This is what happens with these structures out here because of glutathione. Our eyes are constantly subjected to oxidative stress from daily exposure to sunlight and environmental insults and toxins. I mentioned earlier, 88,000 chemicals out there. Dust, pesticides, you know, exhaust, all of those things affect us. This diagram was actually taken from the study that I'm going to show you, where they show the different types of UV light and where it gets absorbed. Look at this, UVC gets absorbed in this outer layer. UVB gets absorbed mostly by the lens. UVA, tiny amounts, it mostly gets absorbed in the lens. Very tiny amount gets back in to affect the retina. So you got the tear film on the out, you got the sclera, you got the cornea, you got the aqueous humor here, and you have your lens. And all of those are designed to absorb and protect you from sunlight. I'm not going to click on this link, but because I have this open in another page, and I don't know if it will allow me to, so I'm going to stop the share here and share this other page with this. Oops, I got to share. Sorry about that. And I'm going to need to make sure that is on top. Here we go. All right. Here's this study. Antioxidant defenses in the ocular surface. Check this out. The human eye is subjected constantly to oxidative stress due to daily exposure to sunlight, high metabolic activities, oxygen tension. Reactive oxygen species generated from environmental insults and pathological conditions render the human eye particularly vulnerable to oxidative stress. So they go through and they talk about some of the things I already talked about. I'm going to skip down here. And it talks about reactive oxygen species, meaning, what are those? Those are electron stealers. All of those things steal electrons from those tissues. And I'm not going to read all this. Formation of reactive oxygen species, all of that stuff. And these are the chemical ways they do it. Not going to go about that, but I am going to show you the screen of the chart, because this is what it's all about in my presentation. Look at this. Antioxidants present in the ocular surface, in the tear film. Notice each layer, what is the common denominator? Glutathione. Enzyme, SOD. Guess what gets elevated by the AON patch? SOD, superoxide dismutases. But look at glutathione. Glutathione in the cornea. Check it out. Aqueous humor, glutathione. All of those things, or all of those layers, have glutathione as the main player to for antioxidant activity. All right, let's get back to my presentation here. Okay. After all, I mean, you see this guy, you see this representation of a form right here. It says the future of medicine is frequencies. What are our bodies made of? We are frequencies. Look down here, it says there's no organ system in the body that's not affected by sound, music, and vibration. Truly, you could just say vibration. Everything is a vibration. Why am I bringing that up right now? Because I want to shift a little bit and talk about these patches. Humans glow. We just can't see it. How do the patches work? You see these human forms that some Japanese scientists figured out in 2009 or determined that we glow. Well, what is that glow? Where does that come from? Well, we have these processes and these reactions taking place inside of our body, and they give off photons of light. They produce heat. What is heat? Heat is far infrared and near infrared. What are those? They're just different frequencies on the light spectrum. When you touch someone, the reason they're warm is because of these photons that we are emitting. If you're just sitting there by yourself, they're going out into your surrounding around you. When you hug someone, you exchange some of those photons. That's why it feels so good to hug. It's one of those things. We're in each other's electric field, and we're giving off photons of light. David Schmidt figured this out, and that is how to use the human body of a power source to create patches that then act as photobiomodulation with energy you are already making that goes out into the environment. So what did he do? Each patch has a different substance in it, combination of substances. It's proprietary information, but it's a varying amounts and recipes, so to speak, of amino acids, salts, sugars, stabilized oxygen. So what did he do? He figured out how to make a new type of crystal structure that each one forms a different, what's called crystal lattice structure. Let me just explain that a little bit. Crystal lattice is, quartz crystals have a certain shape. They have a certain structure. All different crystals are different shapes and colors and structures because of the lattice structure. Sodium chloride, if you crush it, it always breaks into perfect squares. Everything has a crystal lattice structure. David figured out how to combine different things to selectively reflect back into the body certain frequencies of light and energy we're already producing so as to turn on different pathways. The glutathione patch is like turning the switch on your glutathione factory. Instead of taking a supplement, which is, subject to degradation in the acid of the stomach, and, maybe you don't absorb it well, you got leaky gut, you got something. As opposed to that, just signal the body to make more. That's why it's important to eat a lot of sulfur-rich food. But David Schmidt's the guy who figured that out. That's how they work. So, how long will you be using the glutathione patch in your life? How long will you be using the rest of the patches? I recommend to you that you get with the person who invited you to this webinar, this podcast, this recorded message that you're watching at some point in the future, and find out all about the other patches. We talked about the glutathione patch today. We actually have a patch that, in this exact same way, but a different frequency, elevates your stem cell production. That's a whole different discussion that we've had and we'll have many, many times. So the glutathione patch is not just a protective shield for your eye. That's just what we talked about today. It's a protective shield that turns your body into a self-healing shield. It turns your immune system into the powerhouse that it was truly meant to be, so that it can keep up with all of the stressors. When you get a bacterial infection, man, you got to ramp stuff up. Remember what I said, that immune system doesn't collapse if and until it cannot keep up with the oxidative stress it's being subjected to and presented with. So what will cause that? Well, what will cause it is you can't replace the electrons fast enough with all of the oxidative stress that's occurring in your body by the increase of that bacteria, that virus, that pollution, that chemical exposure, whatever it is. So glutathione is just that, your full body protective shield. Listen, we always have fun, and we enjoy helping you understand these patches better. We try to bring something unique and different to these Science and Doctor Call. Make sure you get all your friends on them in the future. And this recording will be on the Telegram app. You'll be able to go there and share it with your people, either people who don't know about the glutathione patch yet, or people who just want to get more education about it. Thanks a lot for joining in today. We'll see everybody the 4th Saturday of the month, 10 o'clock Pacific, 11 Mountain, 12 Central, 1 o'clock Eastern, and keep patching on. We'll talk to you next time.
Bye, everybody.